For anybody here who didn't come to one of our previous sessions, I'm Mark Luker. I'm the Manager of Strategic Communications for University Marketing and Communications. And I sort of fell into this role when Katie Mears, who was part of the web team, left over the summer, and they needed somebody to come in and just sort of, I don't know, drive the bus for a while. We were fortunate over the summer, or over the spring, to hire.
I'm Carissa Cooley. I am the new content strategist, so I'm taking over some of Katie's jobs, and I will be able to help you with anything related to content questions. Yeah, I was a writer before for 2 years, so you might recognize me from around campus, but yeah, so.
At SDSU educated.
Yep, Department of Journalism.
Terry Mollengraff, a lot of web support. You guys probably have emailed me if you've done any support tickets, so that's me.
Thomas Choi, still I am accustomed myself to the weather in South Dakota because I came from the Arizona, so still cold I feel. All right, so I have the two backgrounds in the professional backgrounds are the computer science and the cognitive and the brain systems. So between those, between them, my the research funded by the NSF was the non-linear dynamics approach. I'm going to introduce that to you very briefly, but this will guide us a lot of things: how to think, how to work, how to manage, and why, and find out what to do for our whole SDState AD web services. All right, that's it.
All right. So with that, I will turn you back over to Thomas. And Thomas will give you the scientific background and framework here
Yep.
of what we're going to do.
All right. You know what? You're gonna have to stop by too many web pages every day, right? So from your cell phone, from your mobile, and tablets, and your desktop, whatever. Okay. But have you thought they have some the underlying the philosophy? Probably not. All right. Some of the web pages have such strong the backgrounds to the support or harness their the services. All right, and the others probably not. Some the most of in stats. 96% of the worldwide web services died, and for less than the 4% of the web pages still survived. What does that mean? They don't have such the backgrounds. They don't have the philosophies. All right, when I know we have the two IT the persons over there, three, and I joined this program. I looked at the common part of the web page, the current web pages. Oh my God! All right, so I just brought what is the best idea to support the whole the main the website of the SDState.edu. All right, so these the scientific backgrounds and the frame will guide us about how to think, how to manage, why, and what to do. And the last thing is when we will do that. So please okay. So the first thing is the dynamic systems approach to the new the SDState.edu web services. Under this the phrase, we're gonna think first one, what is a non-linear dynamic systems approach, and second one, how do the infrastructure and the Drupal system work in terms of the non-linear dynamics, and the third one, contents. Are they all? I'm going to raise some questions about what the nature or what the characteristics of contents. Probably the most person think contents are static. No. Okay. Let me give you an example. When you're going to go to your web page and you're going to have your bank account. All right. Then after bank account, you're going to have to type in your the credentials to log in. and you're gonna find the sum, all right? Those steps are also contents. So we classify them as the dynamic contents. Probably procedural contents, probably the non-dynamic contents. There are tons of the contents. So we're gonna have to think about it, okay? And I'm gonna have to show them some examples to understand. All right, and I'm gonna have to introduce some funny example of the dynamics to understand. And third one is okay. So what is the mechanisms of the nonlinear dynamics, which guide us to the new front-end website. All right, last one is how will nonlinear dynamics be embedded in the whole services of SDState.edu. Please go to the next one. I just put just the simple function, but don't think that is a function. Just think that is the mechanism or process. And xn minus 1, that's the first step, or on the next step. So that is a system, like our body. Okay, today, that's the first the initial condition. All right, we're gonna eat, we're gonna sleep, and tomorrow, okay, we're gonna wake up. So based on the today's activities, all right, the tomorrow the activities will be changed, all right, in terms of time series. So in that case, we call that is the self-feedback and self-organizing. All right, so the simple the feedback system is in a time series is our system. It's a nature. All right, all right. One example is the biorhythm. All right, you're gonna have to sleep probably at 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock. Let me suppose that. All right, and you're gonna wake up at 7 o'clock. All right. When you're gonna have the experience some jet lags in your trip, then what happened? Firstly, your whole the biorhythms is gonna be shaken. All right, we call that is fluctuating. Oh, okay. After then, you're gonna be back to find the equilibrium state. That is in plain words, stable state. But in the dynamics, such the stable state doesn't exist. So probably defunct object, defunct agents, probably they are death. Is the very stable state. All right, and the second one is the dynamic trains. When you're gonna get on the train, the very first the train are gonna have the engines, and it will move. Then the second train, the train box, and the third one, fourth one, and the final last one. Okay, they're gonna move like after the experiencing some lagging. So we call that is the chain in dynamics. And the third one is a gallop, walking and running. Like your doggy, your doggy. Well, when you're gonna take the walk with your doggy, what happened? He or she will walk like this. All right. Then you're gonna run it. Then what happened? They are running. They are the lag patterns changed, and you're gonna run fast. Then what happened? Their legs changes like this. Horse riding, that's the same thing. We call that as the gallop. So that's the dynamics. And fourth one is the percussion rhythms. Have you tried the drum? Right. So on your right side, you're gonna take the 2 beats per second, and on your left hand, you're gonna try 3 beats per second. What happened? It's just really hard. All right. Okay. Put your fingers like this, and make this. Then move slowly like that, and move fast, move fast, move fast. Then what happened at last? You're gonna move like this. We call that is a synchronization. That's a dynamics. All right, and the fifth one is the critical periods. Okay, when you all were young, your voice was so cute, so nice. Okay, all of a sudden your voice like, hey, I'm not a boy any longer. All right, so that's the voice change. Okay, what happened? We call that is the phase transition. You transformed, not a movie, transformer. Okay, so anyways, we're gonna experience the critical periods. Most of the website, okay, when they're gonna grow, they're gonna experience a lot of phase transitions. For example, common spot. All right, we have we set up the Commons for web page, but all of the departments and all the services will ask. All right, I need this service. I need this service. Oh, is it possible? Another of the service is possible. Then they're gonna try to accommodate all. Okay. Then what happened? The whole of the website, the aspects of their face and their the characteristics will change all of a sudden. We call that is the phase transition. All right. So, goal of Please let me go back.
Sorry.
Goal of the understanding the nonlinear dynamics is to find and keep stable states or equilibrium state. Okay, go back. Go to the next.
Yep.
Right. What does it look like? That's a solar system. So let us try this. We're gonna bring the protein, 30% of protein, the 30% of water, and 40% of the carbon dioxide. And you're gonna pour in a big the container. Then shake it. Then does it make the multi-cell body? It's alive. It makes life, even though we have the same the components of in terms of proportion. All right. We call that is the self-organization. So the solar system. Okay. Would you play it? Yep.
Video?
Yep. Oh no, the video doesn't work.
No,
All right. Anyways, that's the solar system. Please go back.
Yep.
And the second one is the boiling water. When you're gonna boil the water, please try to look at the top surface. Then you're gonna see the different changes of patterns. So that is the Bernal cell. And honeybees, they have the self-organizing dynamics. And drought fields, and like in the middle of the summer, you're gonna see the fields got totally dried. Then you're gonna see the hexagons on that, exactly same as the web, the honeybees. All right, and another one is the ratio of your face and body from your the birth to the current. So it has another the dynamics and the human growth. Yep. And the music, there are a lot of the pink noise patterns in music, and then the white noise and the brown noise, and yep. So that is the very good examples. Another of the examples, go to the next. Okay, what does it look like? It's a big the spiraling the skull of the fish. All right. Did someone else teach them how to make that pattern? No one did. All right, so you know what? Out there, trees and a tree trunk, a tree root, your cells and your the neurons in your brain, and the pruning process in your brain. They are all on the dynamics, DNA structure, organic development. They are all on the developments. Okay, now we're gonna go to the short-term description of the what mechanisms for the nonlinear dynamics. First, time series. Okay, they're gonna evolve. Second, sequences. Third, this is really important, self-feedback. And the first one is the underlying process, which we don't know. We will not to recognize those things. But later, when you're gonna measure the behavioral pattern, then we will find that. And the multifunctional components as a whole system, and the patterns. Right, now it's time to characterize the dynamics before going to the real web-based the contents management systems. All right, first one is the first the characteristics of the dynamics is autonomous organics, which means that it looks like the complex, but the embedded the processes after we realize that it's simple. So it's a complexity, chaotic, fractal in the geometry? No. Technically speaking, we are trying to explain that in simplicity. And the second one is a very important thing, self-organizing. So our web system will be the self-organizing the structure, which means all of you joined to give contents, any services. Then the whole of the infrastructure of the SDState.edu, okay, will grow, will evolve, while self-organizing, self-growing. That's the system. And the third one is self-growing, and the first one is fluctuation to find the equilibrium status. All right. Fifth one is a sixth one is the self-similarity is really important. The self-similarity means it is defined by the similarity between the whole object and in the small part of that object. Do you know what I mean? You're going to make the right triangle, then you're going to draw another right triangle inside of it, then the small one and the bigger one, okay, going to be exactly the same. Do you know what I mean? So that's the self-similarity. All right, then the second the big topic is plasticity. What is plasticity? Okay, in clinics, when we're gonna have the clients with no he lost his left arm from the Afghanistan of the war. Then what happened? Still he could adjust his bodily or emotional or he still has no problem in doing his everyday life. All right, we call that is the plasticity, even though he would experience the phantom effects. All right, and self-similarity introduced that, and the last one is phase transition to transform. Definitely all website will transform. This is a good example. Twitter is not on the web service at the first time. That's just the messaging and the logging system with a super simple database and the HTTP interfaces to share their logs. All right, what happened next time? All right, some of the services were required. Like I need more pictures to add. I need to talk, or I need to collect my the friends, right? So it grows. Even though the first the Twitter system does not know what the such of self-growing the structuring of the features. That's the good case by chance. All right. So they experience the such of the phase transition and the transform. We will experience that exactly the same thing. But when? No one knows. Right, go to the next thing. All right, so the whole of the developmental the processes I orchestrated by far followed those things. First, fast, rapid prototyping in spiral development. Okay, on the left side of the picture, you're gonna see the arrows up, and then you're gonna see the stairs. Okay, like the spiral. At this moment, we have the first floor. We didn't finish the first the spiral of the cycle yet, but the next month we will finish that. Then we're gonna see the real running prototype at the real time. All right. Second one is the evolving to the stable states. You understood the why I used the phrases. Self-organizing of contents. Fluctuating, we will experience a lot of fluctuation and the self-growing, and keeping the similarities and the phase transitions to the transform. Last one is the really important to you. All right, this is up to all of you really. Accommodation by emerging and submerging properties. I will introduce that. Why we need that? Emerging and the submerging, okay. Emerging the property means, okay, there is the big system, okay, like your kids, like your the partner, all right. But when we met them, we don't know their personalities, their characteristics, their behavioral patterns, right? But as the time goes, you will experience, oh, he has a very good, nice personalities. All right, how are we going to find that? All right, he or she had such the characteristics or properties, but they were not visible. But at the certain amount of time, such the properties, okay, will be up on the surface. Then it's gonna be the visible. So we call that is the emerging properties. Okay, let's go to our the web services. All right, we have the web services. But all of a sudden, we need the LoRa asked us, hey, we need iGrow the new system, and iGrow system will have to have money transaction. Oh my God! At the very beginning of time, we didn't expect those on the website will have just the static and descriptions of what they are or what they are doing or so that. But all of a sudden, they asked another extra features. All right. Then on existing the web services, all right, they would like to redesign or plug in or add some. Then the existing the shape of what we expected, okay, gonna be changed. Oh my God! All right, so all right, the two. For that, the first job at SDState.edu was design, research, and developing the infrastructure should be redundant to accommodate such emerging properties. Emerging properties are always defined by two things. First one, invisible, but at a certain amount, after a certain amount of period, it will appear. Then how are we going to take care of it? All right. And the second one, the emerging properties follow self-similarity. I'm going to introduce the cohesiveness. That's the emerging properties. And another one is the submerging property. Submerging property is totally the different the object out there. And we have this closed system. Then some of them wanted to add that external object inside of this system. Then what happened? Okay, if they have they are totally different from each other, then what happened? We're gonna refuse. All right, or the system will change their shapes automatically in terms of from the organization systems. So I would like to look at emerging and the submerging properties. Okay, the emerging properties is not a new attributes, but we have to know that. The second one is probably they are dormant, undiscovered, or invisible. The third one is it definitely it will appear after a certain period of time. We call that is critical period, like your voice. And the first one is accompanying with the transformation, and the last one is definitely we're gonna experience on other phase transition. I would like to play the video to help you understand it, but I'm sorry. Okay, and the other one is the last one is okay. Let me look at that the pictures. Okay, on the left top you're gonna see the rectangle. And the right top, you're going to see the rounded rectangle. And our system is a totally the circular one. Internal the components are all on the circular, the circles. All right. The small circles on the keeps on the small circle A on the small circle on the keeps the self-similarity. Okay, between itself and the whole system. All right. So we call that is cohesive. All right. But the rounded rectangle has the affinity. Affinity is defined by the adhesiveness. So when adhesiveness of the objects exist, then we can adapt. We can accommodate into the system. All right. That's a submerging property. But the rectangle totally heterogeneous. So no, we will not accept that. Then we will refuse that. All right. In that way, we're gonna keep growing. We're gonna keep evolving. The second one is moving forward to the optimal the status, using emerging and the submerging properties. And these the two properties are really critical to shape how the whole of the system will change in terms of the phase transition. All right, and in this case, most of the non-linear systems, we don't need any artifacts or the arbitrary the changes manipulating. All right, so let it go. Then it will shape itself. So this is the whole. Go to the next screen. The introduction of the non-linear dynamics approach to our whole of the web systems. And let me finish this the short presentation about what you're gonna do and what the scientific backgrounds to guide the whole system. So take home message from me is new the systems approach to the www.sdstate.edu is highly responsive. You will experience a lot of the responsive the services from us. For instance, the admission office they got a lot of the context from the new students. All right, and we're gonna provide another very responsive the services to connect those things. Second one, self-organizing. Third one, growing. Fourth, it's another of the important aspects, adaptive. And 5, the redundantly infrastructure. 6, ready to experience phase transitions. We're gonna experience a lot of changes. And the last one is new concepts of the contents. Okay, in here for contents, we have the different. We need different definition of contents. People, the inside of this whole of the system, people, objects, and the existing of the publications, they are all contents. Processes, they are all contents. Visuals, all contents. Acoustics, all contents. All right? Okay, so let me finish that. And please raise your hand. Feel free to ask me anything about this thing. Too hard?
So who feels like they've been drinking off a fire hose for about 20 minutes? So it seems that way to me sometimes too, and I've heard this a couple of times. But what's interesting to me about the way Thomas describes this is you're kind of getting a view of how he understands the different parts of the web and our interactions with it functioning together kind of from 50,000 feet. And at the same time, it gets down to that almost granular level of the little pieces that put it together and tries to make it make sense. Now, what I'm going to do next is a whole lot more mundane than that. I'm going to talk to you about some of the same kinds of things, but in a little more terms about what exactly we're going to be doing over the next month or so and what it is we would like you to do to help support that. So we're moving into the projected timeline phase here.
All right, we're gonna go to the very specific details. You're gonna handle that, but don't forget this the whole underlying of the big picture. All right, to understand it, to follow that. For example, when you're gonna doing changing your contents or adding your the pictures or whatever, okay, probably you're gonna lose your way. What am I doing? Okay, after doing that, what happened? Just please don't lose the whole big picture. You are very critical part of whole self-organizing system, right?
So let's start with dates. One of the big questions everybody has is how are we going to make this move from Common Spot, which is where we are right now, into the new Drupal website. One of the necessary pains that we're going to have is we're going to have to shut down people's ability to edit in Common Spot for a period of time so that we'll be able to get all the remaining content and start moving it over into the new website. Unfortunately, the way that's going to shake out is it's going to take us about 6 weeks, more or less. And so during that period, if you have things that are going to need to be edited, and I know I've talked to some folks already and they are, we're going to have to do that for you. We're going to have to be the people who are going to make those changes. So that means you'll be getting in touch with us through the web support at SDState.edu website, or you'll be calling us or grabbing us when you see us walking across campus and saying, hey, I need some help with this. So on Friday, June 3rd, at the end of the day, 5 p.m., that's when we're gonna cut it off. So if there's anything that you wanna change in Common Spot on your sites, your existing sites right now, please do it before 5 o'clock on Friday, June 3rd. The following Monday, June 6th, Palantir, our partner organization, is gonna migrate that final set of content that's currently on Common Spot over into the staging server. Now, I'm guessing that all of you know exactly what the staging server is and how it works, and you've been in there and you've edited and approved all of your content, right? Show of hands, everybody who's got that done. It's on a slide later here, it's in your packet here someplace. But actually, the content that was migrated over there initially, that we've been asking folks to go in and work on it, and I'll admit right now, I'm as guilty as the rest of you of this, we've really only gone through about 35% of that content. So there's about 65% of it that hasn't been reviewed, looked at, edited, or approved yet. And so we really need folks to go in and do that, and then at the same time, if you've made changes on your website, or if the folks you've got in your office who are maintaining your website have made any changes on it in the Common Spot version, those changes are now going to be brought over onto the staging server. And we need you to take a look at those and approve those to be sent over onto the new website as well. One of the things that we've talked about with our partner Palantir is to put a special label on those. And if I had a better memory, I would be able to spit that right out. But you're still going to have all the content that says needs review. That's the stuff that's been up there for a while and that you still need to review. And then on the new version, on the things that are where you've made changes that are coming over in this final migration, it's going to say update to review. So you'll be able to distinguish the stuff. If you've already done all your work, those are the only ones you'll see. If you didn't edit anything, you won't even see those. You're done. Thank you. And if you haven't had a chance to do it yet, that's really the next step where you need to be working. At the same time, on June 6th, through the end of that week, the UMC team is going to be taking a look at the new site, and they're going to compile a list of remaining issues, problems, tasks that need to be taken care of. They're going to work with Palantir and to try to address those. On Monday, June 13th, and for me this is a big day, sort of, because while you're going to get to have a peek right now at what the pages look like when we get to the end of this presentation, on Monday, June 13th, we're going to send all of you a link. We'll send it out to the folks you work for, your vice presidents, your directors, your deans, whoever it is, and we're going to let you see what that content that you've been working on for these last couple of months looks like in the live running new site. Now, at that point, you'll still be able to edit content on the staging server. You won't be able to get onto the new site itself, but that's going to be kind of the interim step, the place that you'll have to be able to go in and make changes. So if somebody goes on there and says, well, that's not right, we need to fix that, you can still go back on the staging server and you'll be able to change it there. And I'm not sure how often we're going to be able to do it, but we've been talking to Palantir about trying to move that stuff over onto the site as fast as possible, so you'll actually be able to see the work you've done. And I suppose also, if I didn't explain this, I probably shouldn't explain this, but the part of the strategy too is if we get the folks you work for to look at this, then they'll come back to you and they'll say, why isn't my stuff there? So if you're among those people who didn't raise their hand like me because you don't have it all done, it's a little bit of an incentive to work on it as well. Starting then, June 13th, we would ask you to continue the reviewing process. And then this is a place where we've had a little bit of a setback. There's a files section on there too. That's where all the PDFs live. That's where all the Excel spreadsheets live. We didn't have you review those. We didn't have you look through those before. We had the ones that popped up that you could check this is the right picture and that kind of thing, but we still got that whole files area. We'd ask you to go and look through those and try to make a decision about which ones are going to need to be moved over. We're going to have to work one-on-one with folks. We're going to have to work one-on-one with Carla. And I'm sure there's some other folks who've got a lot of PDFs out there to make sure all of this stuff gets moved over onto the new site until such time as we can actually have that working tool. And there is one. Thomas has been talking to Palantir about it. There is one that'll do this kind of conversion, but we're not at a point yet with this new version of Drupal where we can say, yeah, we've got that and it works well. So we're asking the content managers, all of you, to go in. There's a, I don't want, could we call that up on, could we call the staging server up?
I can pull it up if you want me to.
Yeah.
I have to exit out of this.
That'd be
but-
fine. Do that for a minute. Everybody's got, we all have one of these in your hand right now. And when Terry gets it up there, he'll show you where the tab is, where all those are gonna be. We would also ask you to inventory, if you haven't done so and sent us the information yet, any forms that you have up there. Now, we've talked before about, we've got the complicated forms that still fall into the bailiwick of Wendy. Back there, wave your arm, Wendy. It's a paint a bullseye on you. And we're also gonna have, what's the name of the tool?
Bench.
Workbench?
No, for building forms.
For the form, oh, you mean forms?
Well, it's got a name anyway.
I missed that.
It's a tool for building forms.
Forms.
And one of the things, one of the
Oh,
steps.
web form.
Web forms.
Web forms, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna move into it during that same period between June 13th and June 30th is training sessions. We're gonna schedule those for people who have forms on their site, so we can train you how to use these tools to build the simple forms. How we get the more complex ones over there, that's still a conversation that's gonna have to continue between Thomas and Wendy, and how that's gonna work. But from one side or the other, we're gonna be able to support those and get them over there. And at the same time, we're gonna continue to offer guidance. For example, Carissa's gonna have open office hours if anybody has any questions about content. That's a little farther on in here. So that we can make sure people get the support they need. She's really gonna be kind of moving into that role of being the main contact if you have content questions. As I kind of try to back out of it, as I say, my English degree doesn't serve as well in this area as it does some of the people who have more technical or more specialized training to do this kind of stuff. And then we move over into July. That first week of July, that's the 4th of July. Nobody probably wants to be here anyway. So the web team will be taking a look at the new site and actually really start moving towards preparation for launch. The content managers, all of you who will be able to look at it as your content starts to appear in the new site, even though it's not at SDState.edu yet, you'll have the link to get to where it is. So you can see it as it continues to grow, as it continues to evolve and self-organize. You'll be able to bring those concerns to us and say, have a problem here, have a problem there. We expect to be busy as heck with this stuff. I don't imagine there's a lot of us are gonna be disappearing around the 4th of July. And then sometime in July, when we've got as many of those issues resolved, and we don't have a specific date picked yet, because we don't wanna lock ourselves into a corner, but we do want it to happen in July. The new site will go live. They'll do whatever magic happens to where SDState.edu will no longer point to Common Spot.
That's the easy part.
And that's, well, and the hard part is what we're talking to you about right here. So the reason we wanted to give it to you like this is because there's a lot of different things going on. There's a lot of different balls in the air. And we want you to have something you can refer to so that you know what those steps are, what we're gonna be doing, and what we're asking you to do during that same period. And as always, web support at SDState.edu, web support at SDState.edu. First place you can send, you can call us, you know who we are, you know how to reach us. We're really intent on making sure that we make this as smooth a ride over what's gonna probably be a little bit of a bumpy road as we possibly can do. So then, I'd say questions, but we're gonna save those till the end. The content review update. As I said, at this point, only about 35% of the content that was moved over in that initial batch of things that we presented to you in all the small sessions there, only about 35% of that has been reviewed. We really need you to review it. Initially, at least, when you get your first peek at that site, when it's not actually the new website that everybody sees yet, but that you'll be able to see, so you can see it kind of unfolding as we go. If you haven't reviewed it, it's not gonna be on there. And if it's not on there, my guess is the folks you work for are gonna wanna know why, and then we're gonna all be having conversations. Again, any content that has changed since this review process started is gonna be showing up on the staging server with the tag on it, update to review. So you want to go in and you want to have a look and find those. If you didn't change anything, you know that. That's part of the job that you're off the hook. You don't have to worry about. And then any remaining content that still says needs review, we really need you to go in there and work on that. Make sure we're not, to go back to the metaphor that we used when we were first talking about this, that's something we don't really want to pack up and take to the new house. We don't want to bring over anything that's outdated, information that's wrong, anything that's going to confuse the people who are coming to the website and looking for it. And again, I would ask those who have anything in the files area, PDFs, and especially if you have a lot of them, make an appointment, come over, or we can make an appointment, come over where you are. We can help you put together lists and figure out just exactly what we're going to do with those in order to get them over there. Because we want to make sure that you all have the stuff you need on the new site in July when we finally do flip that switch and it goes live and everybody around the world can see what we've been working on. So, additional training. Talked about this briefly. The how to create forms, that's going to be important for a lot of folks. Using the editing tools. We're going to have tools that look similar to but are not exactly the same as what you're using right now. So we'll have sessions where we offer training, and I don't know if that's one where we might actually put something up online that kind of takes you through it on a step-by-step basis, and then for those who really need that kind of one-on-one or you know, in a classroom type setting to talk about it, we can work with you on that as well. The content strategy walk-in sessions, as I said, Carissa's decided that she's got time on Thursday afternoons, and you basically just walk in, give her a call, whatever. That's when she's going to focus on that. And we're gonna try to next week start getting the schedule out for these specific training sessions here that we're talking about. So, web support at SDState.edu. Grab us, call us. Scream. I'm often awake in the middle of the night. It's a convenient time to reach me. At that point, I would say I'm going to turn it over to Terry. And the thing that I'm guessing a lot of you really were looking forward to more than hearing either Thomas or me talk is to see what the new website actually looks like. Terry?
Okay. Who wants to see the new website? Raise a hand. Anybody? Anybody not want to see it? There's the door right there. All right. So what we're gonna see isn't the site in Drupal. It is the style sheet. They're static pages in what, and you'll see what the site will look like, but they are not. By me clicking on anything, it's not going to go anywhere because it's just a static HTML site. So
the website now.
Yeah. So this is the theme. So this is what it's going to look like. So here's the home page. Oops. Go to the top of the page. As you can see, it's responsive, which means if you're on a mobile phone, this is what you're gonna see. Start with the menu. Pops open from the side. Drop down. Highlights.
All of this is figured out to be, what is it, ADA compliant, so that it's...
Yep. For really concerned about making sure it's accessible for people with disabilities. So, but here's the menu. We roll down the page. You notice some parallaxing right there. And then we roll down some of the, I'll open it up here. So, and then the bottom we have the news and events, obviously static content because it's just kind of showing the same stuff. But it gives you a look at what the home page is going to look like there.
And the stuff that's up there right now is just sample stuff. This is not necessarily what's really going to be there. These aren't the pictures that we'll settle on. I think this, in the same way that we've been doing, we'll keep rotating different things move to the top and featured, but hopefully in a lot kind of cleaner and more easy to navigate and to look at on the mobile device is kind of a...
Being responsive was very key to making this change, so that we were easy to use on mobile devices, so. We'll look at departmental landing page right now. Again, you're gonna see mostly the same kind of content, but, so here's the landing page of a department. Contact information right for the top. Social media stuff, main content, navigation, it's on the right side versus the left. Academic program information, and then again, news and events toward the bottom.
When you get to the news and events, you'll be able to filter those so that if you want just particular news or particular events showing up on your page that relate to the college or that relate to whatever your unit or area is, that'll be something that you can customize and make it fit for your specific audiences.
Mark can add something to that too.
Sure.
And you don't necessarily post all the information that goes there. So as we post stories, news releases, we'll tag it and we'll put it in those places automatically. So you're not necessarily managing all aspects of it. I think it kind of goes back to what Thomas was talking about in that dynamic state there as well.
Yeah.
But
So,
that-
let me add
Yes.
the technical
That
stuff.
you think should have been tagged, but
Yeah.
didn't.
Should be.
All right, so we do not provide the separate or localized the news and event and the contents editor. That's the whole of the web systems. But in this case, in this case of the event and news, the one big the modules will classify and recognize who you are and what you would like to post and belong to. So just check your own options or tag. The technical jargon is the taxonomy. Then the whole the system will classify automatically. So for example, from the biology the department, they can add the news and events for only the biology. Even though you're going to post that to the whole system, the whole the news and the events the module will classify the your the department, biology of the department. So when you're going to go to the biology department, you're going to see those the news and events or the publications, whatever. But on the front end, you will not see that. If you'd like to promote that to on the front end page, you're going to have the click on the options promotion.
So what we're talking about there basically goes back to one of the training sessions where we'll teach you the tools that you'll be able to use to put content up there. And part of that is just this classification, the taxonomy, checking off the boxes. You know, we're going to make it as easy as we can for you. We're going to make sure that there's a limited number of categories so we don't have to keep inventing new ones all the time. And then that way, it'll be able to sort the things to the pages where people want it. So for example, as he says, you know, if it's a biology thing, but they want it on the ABS page too, just tick both boxes and it'll show up both places.
And the other thing I was going to mention too, you're seeing a static image up there. That can be video, that can be an image. I mean, so there's a lot more opportunities to use that space differently.
Yep.
So Mark, if you write something.
Yes.
And I really like it, and I think that applies to me, but you didn't think it did. But I want it to show up, can I go in and cherry pick it and tag it later?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
That has to
It's
do
gonna
with
be
the
a
control.
permission.
And we
Yeah.
frequently run into this issue right now, where
that's
a lot of stuff that should be appropriate for the college
Right.
doesn't get tagged.
Right.
Because it gets tagged to a department and not to the college.
And that might be a real permissions thing, and that's something maybe we can either talk to Palantir, or maybe that's something we can adjust. And, I mean, that kind of goes back to what Thomas is saying, this is, you know, we'll go in this spiral and we'll find out, hey, you know, we really need to add this functionality.
Yep.
And we will, as we move through this thing, we'll add such things like that
Because
you
I'd like
need
to be able to help people.
Sure.
Right.
Because
Right.
we can't all identify
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
where our article
Well, and
is or our
a lot of the
content
thinking
is.
that goes on behind this too is to be more open rather than less. I mean, we've all lived, most of us here had to live in that world where it didn't matter what you wrote, you know, somebody who you didn't know was gonna decide whether it was appropriate, whether the photo was appropriate, and when the heck it was gonna actually show up online. You know, it's a world that, I had a full head of hair when I came here. So we're gonna, I think if we err, we're gonna err on the side of making it easier to do things that are gonna make it a richer experience and a more robust site, rather than trying to close doors and make it more difficult for you. And those are exactly the kinds of questions and conversations that we want to have as we're going through this process, so we can make those adjustments so that it works. Because it's really all of you who own that content and who know what's best for the pages that you're responsible for. And Mike wants to talk.
Yeah,
about it.
Angela, that is a perfect question based on how we currently do things from where we're going to be doing things. Because right now, that story has to be posted every single place individually. So from the management of content, the simple answer is we do not post something to a program unless it's also the taxonomy includes the department and the college. So just simply how we manage content when we post it right then and there will probably solve that, and you won't have to address that issue if that's
We'll
how
only
we
have to
manage
post
that
it
content.
once.
Yes.
And you'll have to tick a
Yeah,
box.
so
to get-
just the simple taxonomy of how we would do that if it comes from us, and just a simple rule, if it's a program, it has to have a department, if it's a department, it has to have a college. And right then and there, it'll appear wherever place it needs to appear.
You got a chair?
No, I'm good, I'm good, I like it over here.
All right. So, go
Okay,
ahead,
so,
Jerry.
so this is, we've looked at a homepage, we've looked at a departmental landing page, and then we'll look at just a generic page within a department or something. And this is gonna have a lot of content on it, you won't necessarily have this much stuff, but it's got stuff with how videos will be displayed and that kind of stuff, so we'll just stroll through this. So here's some pull-up quote here. Some bulleted lists, not bulleted, ordered lists there. Tables, a lot nicer tables than what we've had in the past. There's a video, embedded video. Another pull-up quote, another option.
One of the things about this is it's made to be relatively simple looking so that it's easy to read, but it also gives you all kinds of opportunities to add things to it that'll make it a more useful experience to the people that come to the page.
So, and then, images with captions. If you've ever tried putting a caption on it under an image in the current system, this will be a lot better. You'll name the caption and it'll just put things in place the way it needs to be.
So what he means is it will work.
Anyway, yeah, we were dealing with one news story yesterday that I think we spent a half an hour trying to get it.
Oh,
to
you guys
display
were
right.
way longer than that.
Yeah, it was not fun. So that's gives you a sneak peek at what some of the options are.
How about do we have a directory page?
Yes, we do. We'll get to that here. Here's departmental staff listings.
I understand he's
So-
actually the president now. Or will be soon.
Yeah. So again, you'll see some different sections. You got the associates, deans, and directors, and faculty. And obviously, you're seeing repeats of the same people, but because it's just static content.
And as before, it's gonna pull most of this information from the, what is it, the banner system, or whichever one it is. But you'll also have tools that'll let you go in and add things and change things, so that if, instead of the, whatever your official classification is in the Board of Regents HR system, which is absolutely meaningless to about 99% of the folks here, you put in what you really do, and what your real title is, and what you want people to know you by, and that's what it will appear as.
I have a legitimate question, because I
Okay.
have not seen this yet. So will you click on that, Terry, and take you to a profile page?
No, I can show you a profile, but again, this is just static content. Will show you a profile.
But
That's
okay.
kind of my last
But
one.
that's where it'll take you.
That's what I'm asking, how do
Yeah.
you get to the profile page
Yes.
from there?
That's what
Yep,
we'll
Click the
we'll
name.
click on the name,
Okay,
and
all
I'll
right.
then it'll pop this page, which is the profile page. So, listing out content.
And these are all sort of like freestanding pieces right now. They haven't
Yeah,
all been pulled
right,
together into the.
right. Yeah.
But they built them so that we can see them, and they understood the importance of being able to show all of you here, because a big part of what our task is, in addition to keeping you up to date and advised, is to kind of keeping you excited about what we're doing. And, if we keep talking about it and never show you progress, I'm sure that excitement's not gonna last very long. So we'll have another one of these next week, and the next week, and the next week. Or not, whichever makes you happier. All right.
Any questions? I guess that's about it.
Yeah. So that's the fun part here.
Let me add addition of the features. This is the highly the technical thing. We are working on the two the critical the programs. First one is the automatic the conversion of from the your PDF files when you're going to load that, or on the existing the PDF files to the HTML files. So pretty much sure it's going to be the rendered with no troubles. But it's the time. The time matter. And the second one is if you have the Microsoft Excel file, in general terms, on the spreadsheet. Okay, so I was working on the brand new the conversion modules to change to accept any kinds of the spreadsheet file. Then the convert that to the database on the tables. Okay, so feel free to talk about if you have the PDF files, sound files, video files, spreadsheet files, and even the Microsoft Office files. Then yeah, just feel free upload that and or just contact us. So the new system will accommodate those two things.
But as I said before, if you have them, take that inventory, and if you have a lot of them, make sure that we get together and have a more of a one-on-one conversation to figure out what's the best possible way to get those moved over in the way that you want them. So, other questions? Wave those hands high because it's dark out there. Yes.
Okay. I was wondering what kind of communication plan you've put together. So, I mean, at this point, we don't know when we're going to go live.
Right.
Are you guys going to send out like an email like every week and say, this is what we're doing, we're shooting for July 15th?
Well, this is pretty much what we're doing every week up until we get to that final phase.
Right.
And the reason that there's question marks in actually when we go live is in that final phase, that's when we're really kind of putting that last coat of wax on the fender and trying to make it really shine to make sure there's nothing wrong, no flaws, no faults. You know, maybe it's the next week. I mean, maybe we look at the thing and that, you know, among all of us here, among the folks in the web team over here, the developers, Carissa coaching them along on the content, and what Palantir's put together, maybe it's beautiful, maybe it's perfect, it's ready to go, bang, then put it live. But we don't want to put it out there in a way that's not ready, that's not going to be right for folks. We always go back to if we can do it fast or right, let's do it right. So we're going to get it out in July. So it's a limited world of how big a span that's going to be. And honestly, the more effort we can get out of you all in terms of getting that content ready so that when that last migration comes and everything gets moved over there, we've got as much of it as possible, that's going to make a big difference in how quickly we can do that and flip that switch as well.
But you're going to let
And
us
we will,
know
yeah, we got a
before-
mailing list now, and so as we get closer, you will get, you know, maybe it won't be every week, but you'll get periodic updates to let you know where we stand in the process. You'll probably get one of those that says, okay, we've now got 55% of the content reviewed, or 75% of it, or 95% of it, at which time you'll know that we're close to the end of it, because I'll be dancing on the roof of the communications center over there.
But you're not gonna wake up one morning and see the new website.
Yeah,
without knowing
no,
what's-
you will always, all of you in this room will always know before anybody else out there where we are in the process. You know, you're kind of our conduit back out to the rest of the university. Over here.
I understand this platform to make it much easier to generate accessible content.
Platform?
What supports are going to be available and what monitoring will there be to ensure that Department A doesn't post an uncaptioned video or some other inaccessible content? Are there plans in place to formalize how we as a university are compliant with WCAG?
That's another one of those questions that nobody's asked us before that certainly points a direction that we need to go. I would guess, and I'm going to point over here at our content strategist, that's somewhere going to fall somewhere within the bailiwick of her portfolio to figure out how best to do that. We know that what we post initially is going to all be compliant, but again, with this, you know, freedom has its cost, you know, and so we're going to need to be reviewing things on a regular basis, maybe set up some kind of a regular meeting of, hopefully not all of us in the same room all the time, but, you know, meet with all of you in different ways, at different times, and make sure that what you're doing is still gonna meet what those requirements ask of us, so that we remain, a compliant site all the way down the line. And I'm not sure what is possible yet with the editing tools that we're gonna be rolling out once we're a little closer to the launch. And it may be something that we actually have some kind of a checkoff in there where we ask you to confirm that that's the case, like if it's the subtitles, for example, or something like that. So that might be a good one for you and Carissa, if you've got a little more background on that you could share with us, could get together, talk about that, and we could maybe figure out, how best to make sure that happens.
Yeah, Nancy, I think we need to have a meeting and really sit down and discuss some of those things, yeah.
Nancy, though, if you remember too, though, that's gonna be part of some of the editing training, because the alt text and some of those other things are in the editing tools.
Yes.
And so as part of that training, we will have to address the accessibility and make people aware of what they need to do to fulfill some of those requirements.
and
The
some
video
of-
might be a little bit different, that we have to answer that, because we'll do that through YouTube. But everything Nikki sends out is captioned, and so we do have quite a bit of our hands on a lot of them, but there might be some that we're gonna have to figure out how to best manage that.
And that might be that checkoff that you confirm that it is in fact compliant with whatever the rules are, that we'd have to have in there as well.
But some of those things like captions and stuff, those can be required, and you can't post them without actually including that stuff.
And that's it,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's gonna go to how we actually can get that tool built.
Right.
Yeah. So those are, more questions like that, please, because that's really the important stuff as we're moving into this final phase, to make sure we take care of those kinds of issues and concerns. Yes, ma'am.
Can you embed social media feeds on these web pages if you have a department Facebook page or something like that? Just
Yes.
to make things to go.
Yes, Instagram, Twitter, your own blogs, as far as on the days provides on the feeds, will be fine. This is an example. The graduation.sdstate.edu, that is on the event page, right? It was implemented in the same system, Drupal 8, but we re-implemented the Instagram of the photo galleries. So currently it has the embedded one, but the next one is they're going to be the scraped the photo galleries. So whatever you have of the SNS types of contents, just let us know. Then we will take care of it.
Yeah,
Terry's
and,
gonna call
and,
it
and
page
again, I will say kind of what Thomas has already been saying with the beginning speech, is if there's something like that it doesn't currently, it doesn't have that current functionality, Drupal it's built in such a way that functionality can be added, so. Nope, wrong place, sorry.
This isn't Terry's fault, this is me walking over there and saying,
Yep,
can you put that
that's
up on the
fine.
screen quick?
So this is right here is an example of embedded. It's embedded, and this is built in Drupal 8. So again, this is the same system we're going to be using in the public. So this piece here has been embedded through Storify.
And our first goal, of course, is going to be to try to get, the sort of the basic set of features up for everybody, so everybody's got a sort of a place to start going forward. And then one of the reasons why, as I've said in the smaller sessions earlier, we're not going to use that old model where I need something changed on my website, send a note to the web support team. Web support's really going to be about trying to find ways to give you those features, or if something doesn't exist. Thomas has amazed me again and again with just the different kind of miracles that he can come up with to connect things, or to find things, or to build things when we don't actually have them. So that's going to really be a big part of the kind of the day-to-day operations that they're going to be involved in, instead of the editing, which is going to really kind of go back to all of you as you take ownership of these pages.
Yeah.
And they should be cool,
Right.
so you'll like it.
You guys are the ones with the content, and a whole point of a content management system is to empower you guys to put the content on the site. We want to be, with that, we want to be freed up so we can actually add functionality and empower you guys to do your job, so.
Yes.
Going back to the directory detail, you know, you probably remember, we've talked about this in IMCC about, you know, filling the same information out multiple places, especially like publications and research interests and grants and all those
The
kinds of things.
open prairie question.
Selected
Right.
works, yes. Are we gonna be able to pull stuff from selected works or even digital measures if we choose to do so?
Thomas is working on it.
You're working with Michael on
Okay.
it, or?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
There's not really a profile.
Let me
of it,
introduce
so,
the two things
yes.
first. The Open Prairie is the hosted service by
Press.
Yeah, right. And after the researching on it, I was on the fence which one is best. Okay, on the left side, they provide RSS feeds, but those on the RSS feed does not export all types of the items they are open on the public for security reasons. All right. Second one is okay. As far as we have the credentials to log in to look at that, then we can scrape it. So
When he says scrape it, that's one of his favorite terms.
yeah, scraping means whatever you're gonna see on the web pages, okay? Then we're gonna take out the exact copy of those things in text format and in HTML format. We call that scraping. So the scraping is the complicated things, but anyways, I implemented both of them. It was they were all successful. And I'm gonna give you the input field, which where you're gonna specify. For example, the Dr. A is there, and here has the publications and the profiles in the Open Prairie. All right, then just copy and paste that the URL and to the Drupal edit screen. All right, on your the profile editor. All right, add more. And select the source from Open Prairie and copy and paste your URL. Then save it. That's it. Then automatically the internal system will extract that or scrape it, then render that to the web page. Probably the best thing is extracting that from the IT the database. No, the library database. Okay, and we're gonna compare that the banners. The registered faculty members and the staff members and the permissions. So by far it was a very affirmative. So you're gonna control that, okay, in your own way.
So if you choose to,
Yep.
you can put in that you want to
You will
scrape
be
your
able to.
publications
Yes.
from,
Yep.
Yes.
each person will be able to, okay.
Yes.
All right,
And
and
if-
it'll be seamless in Drupal to
Yes.
the audience.
Yes, and the plus, if you would like to put access permission in your way,
Mhm.
like on the internal, okay, now this is not for the public. Then the internal person only. Then you're gonna get the request us organic the group permissions. That organic group permissions is the hierarchical structure of the permission groups. So the root has the all, and the student has the very bottom. Okay, do you know what I mean? In this the tree structure, then you're gonna select this from this group, they're gonna access it. Oh no, this group no access. So you're gonna use the access the permission, okay, to give away.
So those you want to see it, will see it. Back there.
We use our website for online registration for conferences, and the brochure that we're gonna put out pretty soon says that they can register online from August 24th to a certain time. Is that doable?
That's an emerging property. Because of I predicted that such a thing. I was talking about the internally the communication portals. So the current the portals is not on our portals. Communication portals is the internal the communications on HTTP protocols, technically speaking, on web page. So this is a good example. The undergrad admission office. Is there somebody from the admission office? No. Oh, the admission office the contact with us 2 months ago. The two, the setup such on the communication or the conference tools, or the setting up the scheduling. So fortunately, the current system has such features, but we didn't decide it's gonna be open to the editors or not. You know what? We have no fixed policies about that. So please contact with Mike and Mark and the content managers to set up what you would like to do exactly. Then we're gonna have to follow.
That would be yes.
Answer is yes.
So the usual form for you guys.
For now.
Yep. That's the kind of question that, you know, Thomas, he's really good at trying to see around the corner about what the questions are that are going to be coming. So in most cases, I would say he's anticipated a lot of the needs that we're going to have. He just hasn't necessarily gone forward and worked on them because there hasn't been a specific case put in front of him. But if you have an issue like that, something that you need done that's a little different, a little special, exactly what he said, get a hold of us and we'll sit down with you and we'll work on that. You know, this is a big kind of wholesale meeting right here. We're looking to have those retail conversations as well to make sure you get what you need and that we get you through these next couple of months where, like I say, the road might be a little bumpier than we'd like, but we're going to try to smooth it out as much as we can.